Hi friends, how is everybody today? I'm gonna clear the energy a little bit. We're gonna do a guided message today from the divine. Can we light this? How's everybody doing today? I'm feeling pretty good today. It's kind of warm out, so I have shorts on. I don't think it's warm enough for shorts, but we're doing the thing, you know? It's what we feel like doing. Let me see, do I have anything I want to talk about before we tune in? I do just want to say, I've been going through like a lot of transformation. I've been purging a lot. I went through that 4-day breathwork session. I'm having a lot of tower moments, gracefully though, just because I know when, like, I've been through it enough. I know when towers come, it's because it's asking for realignment for things that actually are more aligned to my path. So yeah, just a lot of things that are very uncomfortable, but I'm grateful for them because they have pushed me into my dharma, which is this. And I'm feeling very grateful because I actually got the call to do readings a long time ago when I came home from Costa Rica, but something about it just didn't feel right then. And now that I'm doing it, it feels at ease, it feels right, it feels divinely guided, I feel supported. I don't have the confusion I was feeling then, or I still have a little bit of doubt, but it feels ease instead of crippling, which is really nice. So when I think about stuff like that, it feels like more of like a quantum jump, because, and I say a quantum jump because it feels like the things that once would have really affected me just aren't anymore. And I think that's amazing because that's when you start to realize all the growth that you've been doing behind the scenes is actually like paying off, and working out, and then getting all the signs and synchronicities that this is the time. Like, there's so much truth in my body that feels like this is the time, this is my calling, this is like a knowing for me. And I didn't feel that before, but now I do. And I'm just like, even though all these towers feel like they're happening, I have so much trust and faith because I feel like as everything's falling apart, everything's also coming together in ways that I've been praying for years. I've been calling on this for years, and it started to get to the point where I was like, wow, like, am I just delusional? Is this ever gonna happen? I had no idea what it would look like, but now I'm just seeing the clear image, and I just am very grateful that I get to show up and be of service in ways that I never really imagined, but I'm having so much fun and so much gratitude for being able to step forward into this work, and it feels so right to my soul. So I'm really happy where this is taking us, and once again, thank you for allowing me to read your energy, and we're just gonna tap in. But I just had to start off with that because I've been mentioning in my messages that I've been feeling kind of you know, back and forth. Like, some days it's really good, some days I'm like and I think it's just from all the purging and energetic work, and when you're stepping into like a whole different timeline, sometimes that can take like a lot from you, just in the aspect of like, it's confusing because you feel like you're supposed to be so excited, but you're also grieving and watching things fall apart, and it can cause confusion because you're like, what is this? But you have to lean into trust, which isn't always like easy to do, but as you go through it more and more, you start to trust more and more. So I think that's why it's not affecting me as much as it used to, because I've been through so many death, rebirths, spiritual awakenings, that I'm just kind of like, okay, here we go again. I like strap on my seatbelt, tighten it, and I'm like, all right, I know this is for the good though, so let's do it. Anyways, that somehow turned into a 4-minute ramble, but thank you for allowing me to speak about where I'm at right now and my excitement of where we're going. And yeah, anyways, we're gonna tap in, tune in, see what comes through. I haven't really had any signs or synchronicities that I know of today. We're just kind of wing it like we always do, and I love the excitement of that. And I pray that this finds who it's meant to. And if the message doesn't resonate with you and you're like, this doesn't make sense, don't make it make sense. That just means it's not for you. At the end of the day, you know what's best for you. When I do these messages, it's meant to just give some guidance and some peace and maybe like clarity, you know? So yeah, I'm gonna step forward. I already did my prayer and we're gonna get started. I'm seeing black cats. I'm seeing mystic. And I'm hearing wizardry. Wizardry? I'm saying that right. And then I'm hearing there was a new wave of activation for the mystics. And that this next wave is necessary for the next stage of evolution, of remembering our soul's truth and honoring that and remembering how powerful we are as beings. So as these mystics and truth speakers, and I'm hearing like medicine, like I'm seeing just people stepping into more natural medicines and allowing people to remember that this is part of a natural process for humans that we were meant to kind of do. And yes, there's so much gratitude for the pharmaceutical, because it does help, but it should be more of like a secondary than a firstary, and trying to find the root cause of these things that are coming up, and now allowing people to step forward more into trusting their body and listening to their body and moving forward from there. And then the medicine could be the second option. So as these mystics are tuning on in during this awakening process, because there's another mass awakening, this is going to be pretty spread out. And as people step forward, it can be a very uncomfortable phase because of the way in the past that it has a story connected to it. But as a lot of these click on, that story will soon drop, because people will be able to hear the truth, feel the truth, and understand where it's coming from. And that will allow the people to step back in their power and remember that the answers have kind of always been around us, and that they're capable of healing themselves naturally and organically too. And then they will remember the importance of listening to what their body is calling for. And when this happens, this will activate a whole different level of awakening in humankind again, because they will realize that sorry, I needed to breathe. Realize that they were giving their power away in an aspect, but then reclaiming that power. This could be a shaky process just from the limiting beliefs that may resurface and the triggering that may occur during this process, but it's necessary to allow this shadow to arise so we can illuminate and move forward with grace and ease. And this is part of the natural process and natural abilities that we have that was given to us from Pachamama. This was meant to always be in our society and was villainized along the way because of the power that it holds. Sorry, now they're just showing me like a whole collective of mystics spreading out, and I'm just seeing everybody kind of like When I go into breath work, I don't really necessarily see, it feels like a blank room when I see people. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm just seeing bodies of mystics like in this blank room. And then I'm seeing a light switch turn on. And a lot of these mystics that are being activated right now have actually lived many lifetimes of being a mystic. So it will come natural to them, and the acceleration will be a pretty fast process, and that the divine will be working with them to allow them to ground as this activation happens, because it can be very intense and ungrounding. And to remember, if you do feel ungrounded and confused and maybe a tad bit, I don't know how to say it other than a little bit crazy, the medicine is always nature, just like how that will be the main answer of stepping into the mystic process. So that piece of information right there you use to also heal yourself in the aspect of go out in nature, ground yourself while you're also learning these properties, because the information will come through for nature, allowing you to learn more about the nature that you're stepping into of the healing properties of these elements that will come forward for you to learn about and teach other people about. I'm seeing tea, even tea. And they're just even telling me something as simple as tea is very activating for people, because the way people put herbs and stuff into teas and the way that can affect people, even something as small as that. And I see growth happening even in that area. And then they're showing me Bali and how in Bali they believe in a lot of this type of medicine before moving forth with other things. And I'm seeing that kind of move into the States and spreading. And then I'm seeing fighting back with the higher ups of trying to disillude this information and create a false narrative of it to discredit it. But the people aren't sleeping as much as they used to, because we just went through another huge awakening, just like we did during COVID. And that people are going to really question this because of the fact that we've been fed so much information that's already questionable. So they're going to use their own discernment, and they're going to realize that what is so bad about this? There's nothing bad about this. And then I see people actually doing their own research and studying it, and then them activating because they're realizing, oh wow, this is really powerful. And then I'm seeing children also given these herbs and stuff like that of helping healing, instead of just giving all these medications. And when I'm saying this, I want to make it very clear that I'm not discrediting medications. I'm just saying that these are more of like a secondary option after we move forth with trying to connect the way that Pachamama was here to serve for us in the way she would like to serve with us, with natural healing, because we are our own natural healers, every single one of us. We just have forgotten along the way, as our intuitions and the way we have been gaslit, basically, of deception of our truth, and the way we second guess ourselves instead of trusting. I feel like this message is kind of like all over the place. I'm seeing 999 in my eye. And then I'm seeing, they keep showing me like a dark energy of this, but it's not the dark energy. It's basically shining light on the misconception of the dark energy, because that's the narrative that's been pressed for so long. This is going to dismantle the misconception of it, because people are going to realize that you don't have to wear, they're just showing me like a witch hat and just all these other things, that's not the story, but that's the story that's been painted to us, and that's just not the truth. And there's a reason why that has been used against it, so it makes people scared to even look at it. So they discredit all the valuable information because that's the programs that have been set in mind to make it so people don't even want to look that way. And that's a brilliant plan because there's so much power in that. And then they're showing me during COVID how they were trying to cancel and actually take all of these things out of the stores and everything. And I do remember that time. I wasn't too deep into that, but I do remember something coming about that. And then I'm hearing big, you know what, is so profitable. This is the biggest fear of the people remembering this truth because rules the world, you know? And then when people reconnect with nature, with the value that nature is giving us, and reconnect with earth and give her gratitude because she heals us, she is our natural healer, that this will remind people and activate them into higher knowledge, because as they're using these herbs and respecting Mother Earth, it allows them to reconnect with her and reconnect with the embodiment of what we were supposed to be. And then they're showing me cell phones and the disconnection. But when we connect back in with the things that are growing, that are alive, that are healing, it heals you from the inside out, including your mind and the misconception that we've been fed, because there's so much power in these herbs, plants, and stuff like that. Now they're telling me to talk about how I had a video of 2 black cats that went viral, 20 million views. And they're telling me that this is an important part of the message, because that message was part of this message of explaining that that's how big the new wave is going to be. The new wave, black cats. And it's funny because I looked up the meaning, even though this video went viral forever ago. I looked up the meaning of black cats again today because my friend and I were talking about it yesterday, which I guess is part of the sign of this message. And what a black cat represents is intuition, mystics, divine feminine, good luck. It says both, like some people consider it bad luck, some people could consider it good luck. And they're just really emphasizing on divine feminine, intuition, and the mystic aspect, and the power and the mystery. Because mystics don't ever show their full hand, and it's not in a sneaky way. It's in a way of just protecting the magic that they do hold, because of the resistance that sometimes is met because of the stories that have been passed down from time and time again. And this is not just individual trauma, because we've been safe for that for a long time, but it's generational trauma that is here to be exposed at the now time moving forward, because this is the age we're stepping into as we're re-navigating the world that we are creating, and as the false narratives will be dropping and diluting. Anything else? I'm hearing study. I'm hearing whether this is tea, whether this is natural vitamins, remedies, so on and so forth. It's time to move forward. It's time to study, learn. Because if you're receiving this call, it's for a reason. But only you have the free will to accept that call or not. And then I'm hearing this is part of accepting our divine gifts. Because when we realize the power that this holds, it'll also teach us the power of our own gifts that have maybe been taught to not value or trust, because we've been looking and searching for the answers outside of us when the answers have always been within. And that's the way we will start shifting going forth. People's intuitions are activating and turning on, and people are leaning into trusting themselves, because the outsourced information is starting to be so distorted that this is divinely planned to help people remember that it's disempowering to give your power away and see the answers from without. So it's purposely orchestrated so people can go back within. I'm now seeing like a Snow White, and I'm seeing just a movie that was like animated, where she was coming out of like a cartoon and into the real world. I don't remember the movie, but just showing her putting her arms out and like birds coming up to her as she's singing. And then I'm hearing the mystics have a deep connection with nature, because the animals can feel that you have, even if you don't truly know it yet, that nature can feel the energy of the mysticism within you, because it's never been forgotten. It's just been maybe like hidden from yourself as a source of protection, of a fear of being unaccepted. And then I'm hearing we have a bunch of powerful masculines that are also very connected to this realm, but for them it's a little bit harder because of just the toxic masculinity that has been really pushed in narrative. And as the women step forward into this, we will also have a bunch of powerful healers that are masculines that we really need in this time and space, because men the most, as well as women, really need to be able to take up space and feel safe enough to do so, to start healing, so we can start seeing healthier, more aligned love relationships. And this will also switch the dynamic of the way we will see relationships moving forward, because men will start to feel open up enough to be able to express themselves, express their gifts, and not in a way of I just want to express that I already hear like pushback of like, oh, men aren't allowed to like have feelings or cry, and that's just like a false narrative that's really been pushed for a long time, that we are here as women to allow men to step forward into this field, because we really do need them. We coexist, and we need to drop this competition aspect that we've had for a very long time. It just no longer resonates with the frequency that we are moving into moving forward. And that we need to start working together as a team and stop pointing fingers. And that's when we will find true alignment between the dance of the masculine and the feminine. And then as you see that moving forward, we are raising our children, and our children see these relationships growing up, and that's how their belief systems are built. And when you're building off of something like that, it's not purposely that we are programming this to our younger children. It was something that was also taught with us, but it ends with us moving on forward. And this is such a gift that we are in this generation that is rewriting our history moving forward and allowing a more healthy world, because we will be raising our children, which are the future of the world, in a whole different reality, that they will feel safe enough to express their gifts, to express their emotions, to be their most authentic self in a safe world where that's not shame guilted, but more appreciated and celebrated. And as we celebrate that, that will allow new inventions, new way of living, because people are tapping into this higher knowledge, this higher acceptance of their soul guidance that brings forward this information that will change the world moving forward. Anything else? I'm feeling like I want to throw up a little bit, like this sickness right here that kind of feels like it's moving up. And I just feel like the message is coming through of if you feel like you've been purging a lot, that it's okay, that this is just part of the process of releasing old belief systems, old energy that might not have even been yours to hold, but you accepted in a soul agreement to process this information for your bloodline, so you could break this this story of distortion. And what a powerful and what's the word? Commendable of you to step forward into this work in a time and space where it's not necessarily accepted, but will be, just because of the fact that people are starting to hear the truth. They feel the truth of the authenticity that's coming forward as speaking about these things, because of the fact that we just went through a huge awakening. People themselves were purging, and as you purge, you start to become more sensitive to energy, so you can start to feel more when somebody's lying or not telling the truth, and you can start hearing your own navigation of being like, do I believe this or do I not? And people are starting to really trust their own inner knowing. And that's why we're seeing a different side of society, because we are stepping into this new whole reality of authentic space and alignment. And I'm just hearing a healthier world all around. And then I heard, it seems like we're going back in time, but we're actually quantum leaping into a more harmonious way that intertwines with our old reality, like not old reality, but just the ancient wisdom of time and space before it was disordered, rehealing that, integrating it into this new reality that we have, that we will be experiencing, that's going to really elevate us because of tapping into that power from the inside and shutting out any of the outside noise that does not resonate with anybody's soul truth. And everybody's soul truth looks different, and we're going to start also appreciating the diversity of the differences between one of another and having the respect of that, because we honor the fact that we all have different paths and that we're all on our own journey. And then the last thing they're telling me is, if you have any questions about your path, tune into your heart space, look up to your third eye while you're sitting with it. And then if you hear things come up quickly, release that, reconnect with your breath, sit with it, and then if you keep having other things, keep releasing, and then keep connecting with your heart, and eventually you'll be able to tune in and hear. This might take more than 1 or 2 tries. And if you feel really ungrounded, anchor into Pachamama, Mother Earth, thank her, and say you're ready for the wisdom that is meant to be unlocked into your soul truth. And you can also connect with the divine as well, just to make sure you feel protected as you're listening for your next guidance. And that's it. I'm with you guys on this journey. Actually, a lot of that resonated. I actually have been being called to step forward in some different directions that feel nice, but I feel the resistance as well. But I think this will be good for society, in the ways that we just reconnect. I don't know who this is meant for, but I deeply resonate with this as well. And I think it's cool we're getting back to the basics that have been around for a very long time. So we shall see, we shall see. I love alchemy, so I'm not gonna announce what I've been being called forth yet, because I wanna do some very intuitive planning and just really align and make sure it's aligned good. But I'm really excited to move forth what I've been working on behind the scenes just recently. This just dawned on me, and it was like a absolute yes. So I think that's when you can tell if something's for you or not, if it's an absolute yes, you know. And don't rush, because just like I said, sometimes things, you might feel like you're ready and you might not, and it'll resurface when it's meant to. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it at that, and I'll post this message. I love you. I hope you're having a beautiful weekend, and yeah, bye.